at this moment when there's war, when fuel prices are rising, when there's instability, more volatility, more uncertainty. It's also a good time to make that investment in crypto.
Probably the best. First, because the world of investing is a world of probabilities. It's like we have no idea, and anyone who thinks they know is wrong. It's like we can assign probabilities to things we believe. We create a thesis. This thesis allows us to argue or defend. Why do we believe Bitcoin will go up, or why do we believe it will go down? And within these theses, we assign probabilities. So I look from what I've seen without having a crystal ball because nobody has one, but my intuition or my analysis says that I think there's a 60% chance it will keep growing, a 20% chance of a pullback, and a 20% chance it will stagnate for 3 months. Just an example, okay? So we can't know if it will be the best or the worst moment, but what we can do is look for arguments or look for a thesis. So the first argument is that if the war drags on, it will need, as we've seen in every military conflict, economic support. And this only comes in one way, which is printing money and generating debt. There's no other option. So when this happens, what it will do is lower the value of the dollar. When this occurs, Bitcoin surges as it was designed to protect us and was created after the 2008 crisis. Tired of banks controlling the money and central banks doing whatever they want with it to create a money that no one can manipulate. What's fair? That serves you for the opposite, to protect you. So with this analysis, having Bitcoin now with a potential end, it's strange. Let's see how it all ends, but it's a good moment. Historically as well, Bitcoin tends to stand out in times of conflict because it's that sovereign, impartial asset that delivers. No matter which side you're on, or what your country is, or your politics, or the situation you're in, Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has value. In Iran, in the middle of conflict, just like in Spain, in the United States, in Chile, in Japan. And everyone is going to want it. It gives you peace of mind, a way to protect your value that we can't compare to anything else. Because you might say gold, sure, but if you have to travel, are you going to take it with you? And if you have to sell it, you'll sell it at the market price around you. Who's going to buy your physical gold? If you buy through a bank, you rely on them. If the bank closes due to your poor finances, you lose what you had. So the highest guarantees of sovereignty are given to you by Bitcoin. So in times like now, I think it's a smart asset to have. And also, well, we've just had a 50% drop. There will be very few better times than now. Maybe there will be one more then. That's why you shouldn't jump in all at once. Get in gradually. Still, this period from today through the next few months is the time to enter. When will we see Bitcoin reach over 100,000 and say, damn, I'm glad I got in at the right time? And when people say, oh, how lucky I was, it's not luck. It's getting in when you should. It's getting in when most people won't. And that's the magic of the markets. How the most profitable thing is to buy cheap, to buy when it's the right time.
I have some money and maybe I want to invest it in something different that's not traditionally the stock market. I want to invest it in cryptocurrency. How do I do it? What kind of returns can I get? And above all, is it safe? That's one of the things people worry about the most, especially people who are older. This new era catches them a bit more, let's say, distant, and they say, wow, this cryptocurrency thing sounds like something out of a Blade Runner movie, right? I don't know if you could clarify a bit. I don't know if it has a parallel with investing in the stock market. If that cryptocurrency increases in value, how can I do it? Is it safe?
Great question. We always begin with context. I get the Blade Runner reference, but investing in AI, robotics, or space exploration companies is basically the same. What happens is that it's a technology that's a bit more abstract, but we're talking about the same thing. It's all the same investment in the sense that we're all trying to buy what will define the world in 10 years, not today. So we're all kind of restless, like, okay, I want to invest in AI, I want to invest in chips, I want to invest in space exploration, in robotics. Well, you also have to want to invest in the financial infrastructure of the future, which is one of the most important things right now, by far, on the same level as AI, especially in terms of profitability. Because agents will have to transact and will need to have an identity, and humans will have to be more financially free. And we will need to have a digital space where it's not difficult to get dollars. They're not available in many parts of the world, and getting dollars is very complicated because your country doesn't want it. Because the currency they use is manipulated, they inject liquidity, they print money, which makes you poorer. So They prevent you from going to the dollar so that you stay with their currency, which they can control. This is going to change, and the technology that will make this change is blockchain. Blockchain will also bring worlds that seem very much like science fiction, just like AI. At some point, there will be video games where you actually own what you buy and sell, and your weapon will truly be yours. So, much more powerful virtual realities. Will we have a boom in digital art then? It's a technology that opens up a whole new world for us, just like the others. That being said, when you want to invest, what is investing? It's not like what is investing. Investing is holding back a present pleasure. So, I hold back from going out to dinner, or I hold back from doing whatever I want with my money in order to lock it away, hoping that tomorrow it will be worth more. So, the cost of not spending my money now, of investing it in a company or in a bond. The incentive is that in 10 years, I think it will be worth more than I invested. That's the goal. So, when I invest, I have several options. One thing is, for example, bonds. I can lend money to the government and get a fixed interest rate, low but fixed. I can invest in commodities from gold to oil because I believe that tomorrow they'll be worth more since there will be more demand. I can invest in stocks because I believe a company is in a growth stage and will be worth more tomorrow. Investing in derivatives, like I'm already doing options, which is more complex, and now I can invest in something that didn't exist before, which is a crypto asset. It's a new asset category. It's something we didn't know before. It's different from stocks, but at its core, it's very similar. And for me, starting from the basics, the first thing would be, is it safe? Yes. Is it interesting? Yes. It's a new type of asset. Imagine having invested in stocks when we invented them, because stocks were also invented by us, not the idea of sharing in a company's profits. When the stock market emerged, we saw exponential growth. It's quite similar. Now, crypto assets are born, a type of asset that is completely digital, that anyone can have and use. It's transparent, it's unconfiscatable, things like that. To know if it makes sense or not, I would present the following perspective. Right now, we always look for a diversified portfolio, of course. So everything in one thing, right? But now, what are we looking to invest in? We look to invest in what will define the world in 10 years, right? That's why we invest in AI, we invest in technology, because it's the only thing that's growing. Well, the NASDAQ and the stock market are interesting, but crypto is interesting too. We are investing in the infrastructure assets, where everything will be built on top, all the stocks, all the assets. So I know it's like a whole world, but I hope I helped you understand how it's done. The only thing left to add is that to invest in cryptocurrencies, you need a platform, which is an exchange. You don't go through an intermediary like a bank. The bank may allow you to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, nothing else. On the other hand, if you want access to the whole world of cryptocurrencies, you go through an exchange, which could be Binance, Coinbase, or Kraken. Very simple, intuitive, very secure, regulated platforms, some of the largest and most important platforms in the world. Just register and buy cryptocurrency with a card or bank transfer. It's very simple.
And the profitability, Arno, well, you're saying that right now the most profitable thing is to invest in technology because that's what gives the most benefits. Through Bitcoin, you put in, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000 euros in Bitcoin. And then once you have Bitcoin, you can use it to invest in technology or just directly by investing it in Bitcoin. You're already investing and will see a direct return by converting your money to Bitcoin.
There are two possibilities. The first is that you say, I invest in Bitcoin and Bitcoin is technology. Bitcoin would be three pillars. It's not a new technology, it's a new kind of money. And we could even define it as a decentralized network, right? That's connected to miners who use energy. So, do these three factors give it value? But going back to the question, is investing in Bitcoin already investing in technology? Is it investing in a new form, a form of money? So when I buy Bitcoin, I wait, I hold, and my opinion or my bet is that tomorrow it will be worth more. If we look at what analysts say, man, the outlook is very positive with a lot of volatility. That's true, but we have a lot of funds from the biggest fund in the world, like BlackRock, Fidelity, and we're no longer talking about small tech funds. No, not from major firms like Fidelity and BlackRock. With analyses where Bitcoin is expected to reach 1.5 million. So we're talking about astronomical returns. On the other hand, you also have the option to buy Bitcoin, wait for it to go up, but in the meantime, generate a return, put it to work. How is this done with something we call DeFi? So on Ethereum, we've said that we can create applications, right? And an application like Aave allows me to lend my money. Well, imagine that you have Bitcoin, and instead of keeping it, you decide to lend it at 4% at 3%. So besides just holding the asset and waiting for it to grow, I can generate a return from it, which gives me exponential growth. Because with something that increases in value every day, well, every day I have more of that currency because I'm generating extra returns from it. So are these the two ways we have to make money in crypto?
Well, I find it very interesting, Arnau. When I'm done talking with you, I'm going to start looking into it out of curiosity because it seems really interesting to me. It's a whole world to discover, huh? In my case, there are
Something where you say, damn, this isn't clear to me because it's complex. With the time we have, and it's always good to leave it for a few days, right? Is there anything you still don't quite get, or has it all been helpful?
I think it's been pretty clear. I mean, what I understand is that it's a form of investment, basically not investing directly in Bitcoin. And then, well, there are apps like My Investor, for example, to invest in the stock market. So there are apps. You mentioned one called Binance. That name stuck with me, though I'm not sure if that's exactly it. So with that, you download the app, I guess, you start messing around with it, and that's where you can make that investment and, let's say, move your money. Bitcoin.
Not exactly. You have the platform, you register there, you can buy cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are a new technology that's used to move value around the world. We look for the ones that have adoption, otherwise, it's too risky. In the end, we want the ones we'll keep using tomorrow because if that's the case, they'll be worth more. It's inevitable, not because we'll use them more. We know that Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana are there, well positioned, and that besides buying and holding, I can buy. And with other applications, which are decentralized. Very simple, but the name can be confusing. We can generate extra yield and earn even more. It's that simple. And this gives us passive income.
And are now that investment in Bitcoin today, from what you're saying, is really worth it? I mean, there's some volatility, as you say, there's a lot of volatility in Bitcoin, but at the same time, it can also bring us much greater benefits than if you make a traditional investment in the stock market, even if it's a high risk portfolio, etc.
I think so for two reasons. The first would be risk benefit. So the potential benefit that Bitcoin and Ethereum give you. Solana regarding risk is very exaggerated because we're talking about something inevitable. We're not talking about something that might or might not happen. We know it will be volatile. We know it will take time. That adoption won't happen overnight. But when you already have more than 30 countries that have Bitcoin on their balance sheets, when you have an asset that's now at 1.5 or 2 trillion, that has full institutional support in the United States, and that the world will become more and more digital, and that agents need to be able to transact in a space that isn't the banking system, instant, secure. We know the world is heading that way, just like we know that AI keeps growing or that robots will soon be in our homes. They're like technological facts. Knowing this, of course, the opportunity is very high and the risk is very low. Because if this is secure, there are 3 networks that have adoption and will keep growing. There are others that are potentially more profitable, but also riskier. In other words, Bitcoin also offers you huge returns with little risk that you can't find in the stock market. What do I mean by that? If you want to invest in Anthropic because you say Anthropic is incredible, I use Cloud Code, and it's probably the best product I've ever tried in my life. I can't invest in Anthropic because Anthropic is a closed private company. You can only invest through a funding round and you have to be a fund. So when Anthropic goes public, the potential profit won't be as high anymore. So the stock market, we're at the end, a market with a lot of opportunity that I think is worth it. I have NASDAQ and I really believe in the technological future, but at the same time, Bitcoin doesn't have intermediaries. It's not that you can get in now, but before only the funds could get in. It's not the first asset that everyone can get into, even before the big funds arrive. That's what's happening. Therefore, I think it's more accessible and that it's well below the fair price. In recent months, Bitcoin has dropped a lot compared to AI and technology, and this divergence is normal, it's temporary. Will they cross paths again? So, we are buying a highly undervalued asset which has no intermediaries, which allows you to get in before the funds, and we have a very clear guarantee of growth and adoption. So I think putting everything in or not, but putting nothing in is absurd. It's like you have the option to invest in Anthropic and you don't do it. Why? Why wouldn't you do it? If part of your capital that you want to save, invest it in what you know will be 10 times bigger or 15 times bigger in 5 years. That would be the logic in my head.
So right now, Arnav, from what you're saying, also it's a good time because it's devalued and it's a good time to make a good investment and then let that profitability grow. Over time,
Besides the potential, it's also heavily discounted. The price is way below its fair value. Could you continue? Yes, maybe for a couple of months the pullback could continue, but if our view is long term, today is a great moment. Historically, we'll look back and say today was a great time. This was definitely a good moment to get in, so you have to take advantage of it.
well, precisely Arnav, before moving on to AI, I would like to talk with you. You are the co-founder and academic director of Learning Heroes. I want you to explain to us exactly what Learning Heroes is.
Well, what is learning? We are a university center where we focus on teaching in the best possible way, supported by a methodology with hundreds of trainers, support, and experts. Very personalized guidance. A platform with all AI features, a community, and AI agents that engage and ask you questions. So, we wanted to take education to a level that doesn't exist yet in Spain. Not in more traditional settings like a university, nor in more modern ones, which is the whole world of people who can give a course. So, in this sense, we focus specifically on what exponential technologies are. So, our thesis, or at least my view of the world, is that in the next 5 or 10 years, everything is going to change. Maybe we're not fully aware, but this change will bring a great world, but at the same time, it will bring many challenges. I believe this 100%. Do you think there will be people who lose their jobs? To think that this isn't going to happen, I think is absurd. Soon, banks may lay off 30,000 workers after automating everything with agents, and that reality is closer than we think. It's going to change the way we use money. The market is going to be very volatile. There will be more online businesses. So, along these lines, we try to teach you things that help you live better today during this transition, in this exponential era. And we teach both about AI, how to do trading, So we have a lot of products, all very carefully curated, with a lot of dedication. Right now at Learning Heroes, there are 140 of us making this possible with an obsession for product quality. So this is Learning Heroes. And above all, we aim to share our vision of the world so that people see that this will not happen again. Throughout history, there are very few times when the opportunity is so extraordinary. No, to learn, to prepare yourself for what's coming, because doing so opens up a world of opportunities. Not doing it can be very costly, it can have very harsh consequences. That's why we are committed to education and to what we do.